To talk about adapter design pattern. An adapter allows two incompatible interfaces to work together. Interfaces may be incompatible, but the inner functionality should suit the need. The adapter design pattern allows otherwise incompatible classes to work together by converting the interface of one class into an interface expected by the clients. This solves problems such as how a class be reused that does not have an interface that a client requires, and also how classes that have incompatible interfaces work together, and also how an alternative interface be provided for a class. Let's take an example of a player, where player is an interface that will have a run method, and the file player will implement player, and also it will have a reference of the adapter class, whereas adapter class will have advanced player reference, and also it will implement player interface. Similarly, advanced player will have two methods. One would be run MP4 and the other one would be run AVI. And this interface would be implemented by AVI and MP4, whereas AVI will implement only the run AVI and it will have an empty implementation of the run MP4. Similarly, in reverse, MP4 class will have run AVI as an empty implementation and run MP4 as the actual implementation. And we have an adapter test that will have the main method to execute this scenario. Let's build this example and see how it works. Let's go ahead and open our Visual Studio Code. So this is our Visual Studio Code. And first one would be a new interface called player.java. This is an interface. And then we will have public void run that will take string type and string name as arguments. And we will have an advanced player.java, which is another interface. And within this, we will have public void run MP4 that will have a file name as argument. Similarly, we would have run AVI that will have string name. Next, let's go and create a new file called mp4.java. This is a concrete class that will implement advanced player, where we would override public void run mp4 that will take the file name, and here we will have system.out.println. Here we would print running mp4 with the file name. Similarly, we will have one more, override public void run AVI that will take string name, and here we won't have any implementation. Similarly, we would create avi.java that would be same as this. Let's copy this, and it implements advanced player, whereas here we would swap this with this method. Instead of implementing run mp4, we would have empty implementation in AVI, and run AVI will run AVI file. If you see here, we have this. Now let's create our new file called adapter.java. So this adapter Java will implement our player. Here we will have public adapter constructor that will take name, and within this we will check if name dot equals ignore case and this AVI, then we will have a reference here. We will call this advanced player, and we would initialize this here, advanced player equals new AVI. Similarly, if it is else if name dot equals ignore case, and here we would say MP4, then call advanced player equals new MP4. So if it is AVI, we create an AVI object. If it is MP4, we will create an MP4 object. And we have to override our method called public void run string type string name. Here we would check if type dot equals ignore case. If it is MP4, then we would pass advanced player dot run MP4, and we'll be passing name here. Similarly, we will have else if type dot equals ignore case, and if it is AVI, then we would be calling advanced player dot run AVI with name. Now let us create our another class called file player.java that will implement player. This will have a reference to adapter. So adapter, and within this we will override our player method that would be public void run string type string name. So here we would say if type dot equals ignore case, if it is AVI, or type dot equals ignore if it is MP4, then adapter equals new adapter with type, and adapter dot run, we would be passing type and name. If we don't find AVI or MP4, we would like to just print a statement saying not supported. Out dot println not supported. Now let us create our final class, which will have a main method adapter test.java. This will have our main method public static void main. Here we would like to create file player, and we will call this as player equals new file player. Now let us call player dot run method that will take first MP4 comma happy dot MP4. Similarly, we will create one more player dot run with VLC comma sad dot VLC. One more player dot run that will have AVI, which would be happy dot AVI, and last one would be player dot run, and let's call this MP3. Again, we will say sad dot MP3. So we are passing different kinds of file types such as MP4, VLC, AVI, and MP3, and we are passing the file name. So our file player will run these files. Let's compile all these files now. javac *java will compile all the files within this folder. And now let us create the command java adapter test and hit enter. Then if you see here, it is playing player.run has executed and it has printed as running mp4 happy.mp4 as we have the functionality for mp4. Similarly, we have run for VLC where it did not print because it is not supported. So it is printing as not supported. And again, AVI, we have an implementation for AVI file. So it has printed happy.avi. And again, the last one is MP3, and we are passing the sat.mp3, where it could not find the implementation for MP3, so it has printed as not supported. So this is a very basic example of an adapter pattern that could be used for complex systems. I hope this was helpful. Thank you for watching.